Hare Krishna, thank you for joining Shubha class and attentive japa. Let's make a start. Thank you all for joining. So we're talking about Bharata Maharaj right now. And last time we said that Bharata Maharaj had left his home, left his kingdom, gave everything to his sons, and now he's into complete bhakti right now. So what happens? Because Maya is great, it can follow you anywhere, wherever you go, it will follow you. Your mind will follow you, your senses will follow you, they're with you. So what happens with King Bharat? So the great King Bharat was sitting on the bank of the river, so the small deer. So we all know the story of what happened. So he's doing his meditations, doing his sadhana, everything is getting very close to achieve perfection. So the great King Bharat was sitting on the bank of the river, saw the small deer bereft of its mother floating down the river. Seeing this, Bharat he felt great compassion. Like a sincere friend, he lifted the infant deer from the waves and, knowing it to be the motherless, brought it to his ashram. So the laws of nature work in a subtle ways unknown to us. Prabhupada says, Maharaj Bharat was a great king, very advanced in devotional service. He had almost reached the point of loving service to the Supreme Lord. But even from that platform, he could fall down. So it shows how careful we have to be. We are nowhere near anything like that. And we might think we're very strong. Maya is not able to touch us. But you find that Maya is even stronger. That's very, very strong. So fall down onto the material platform. In Bhagavad-Gita, we are therefore warned. There's a warning in Bhagavad-Gita. Yam hina veyatha yanti ete purisham purishabha samadukha sukham dhiram so mrit tat vaya kalpate. Which means, oh best among men, which was Arjun, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. That's 2.15, Krishna says. Spiritual salvation and liberation from material bondage must be worked out with great caution. Otherwise, a little discrepancy will cause one to fall down again into material existence. By studying the activities of Maharaj Bharat, we can learn the art of becoming completely freed from all material attachment. So there's a lesson to be learned. This is why these pastimes are there. So teach us a lesson by example. Look, this is what happens. Right? As it will be revealed in later verses, Bharat Maharaj had to accept the body of a deer due to being overly compassionate for this infant deer. We should be compassionate by raising one from the material platform to the spiritual platform. That should be our compassion. As the devotees are doing, they're going out, book distribution is such freezing weather, they're showing compassion for the fallen souls, helping them to raise their consciousness. Otherwise, at any moment, our spiritual development may be spoiled and we may fall down on the material platform. Maharaj Bharat's compassion for the day was the beginning of his fall down into the material world. Let's pray. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langite Grim Yat Kirpata Mandeshi Gurundi Taranam Paramananda Madam Shitataneshram. Tasat Narayam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Sasmitim Vyasam Tato Jem Udiriyat Nasta Prishabhadirishu Nityam Bhavasevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestiki. Very good. So gradually Maharaj Bharat became very affectionate towards the deer. He began to raise it and maintain it by giving it grass. He was always careful to protect it from the attacks of tigers and other animals. When it itched, he petted it, and in this way, he always tried to keep it in a comfortable condition. So basically, all his time and his focus, his attention was going towards this deer. He sometimes kissed it out of love, being attached to raising the deer. Maharaj Bharat forgot the rules and regulations for the advancement of spiritual life. He'd forgotten why he actually left his house. He left his house to get away from all these attachments, and then he's attached again, you know. So, and he gradually forgot to worship the Supreme Personality Godhead. After a few days, he forgot everything about his spiritual advancement. This is crazy. From this, we can understand how we have to be very cautious in executing our spiritual duties by observing the rules and regulations and regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If we neglect doing this, we will eventually fall down. You know, Maya is there waiting with arms open. It will embrace us. It's ready to take us whenever we are willing to go in that direction. Maya will never refuse us. It will always welcome us. We must rise early in the morning, bathe, attend Mangalarti, worship the deities, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, study the Vedic literatures, and follow all the rules prescribed by acharyas and the spiritual master. If we deviate from this process, we may fall down, even though we may be very highly advanced. So this is why Maharaj Bharat, you don't get much advanced than that. That's why this high example is given, that are you even at that stage? So always beware. Even Srila Prabhupada used to pray that he doesn't fall down. It's so easy. So as stated in Bhagavad-Gita, Yagya Dan Tapa Karma Na Tyajyam Karyam Evatat Yagyo Danam Tapaschaiva Pavanani Manashina Manishana. Act of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up, but should be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great soul. Because there's always room for purification if you're a great soul. Even if one is in the renounced order, he should never give up the regulatory principles. He should worship the deity and give his time and life to the service of Krishna. He should not continue following the rules and regulations of austerity and penance. He should also continue following the rules and regulations of austerity and penance. These things cannot be given up. One should not think oneself very advanced simply because one has accepted the sannyas order. So there's a warning for the sannyasis as well. We are just very ordinary. Sannyasis are the highest rung. There's a warning for them that just because you are in the sannyas order does not mean you can give up your sadhana bhakti. The activities of Bharata Maharaj should be carefully studied for one's spiritual advancement. So before we talk about Dhruv Maharaj, so many lessons were learned there. And now from Maharaj Bharat, so many lessons to be learned. The great King Maharaj Bharat began to think, alas, this helpless young deer, by the force of time, an agent of the Supreme Personality Godhead, has now lost its relatives and friends and has taken shelter of me. So that is another thing wrong, that we think that we are the controllers, that this deer needs completely my attention and help. As I have become its father, mother, brother, and relatives, this deer is thinking in this way, and it has full faith in me. It doesn't know anyone but me. Therefore, I should not be envious and think that for the deer my own welfare will be destroyed. I should certainly raise, protect, gratify, and fondle it. When it has taken shelter with me, how can I neglect it? Even though the deer is disturbing my spiritual life, I realize that a helpless person who has taken shelter cannot be neglected. That would be a great fault. So this was the thinking of Bharat Maharaj. He's thinking that this deer is more important than his bhakti. because the day has surrendered to him. So now it's his duty to give up everything else and look after this deer. When a person is advanced in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, he naturally becomes very sympathetic toward all living entities. So Srila Prabhupada explaining, suffering towards all living entities suffering in the material world. So person becomes very sympathetic. Naturally, such an advanced person thinks of the suffering of the people in general. However, if one does not know of the material sufferings of fallen souls and becomes sympathetic because of bodily comforts, as in the case of Bharata Maharaj, such sympathy or compassion is the cause of one's downfall. So if you spend all your time helping people with the bodily comforts, then you will lose your spirituality. It's not that automatically you become spiritual. You may gain some pious points, but you won't gain spirituality. If one is actually sympathetic to fallen, suffering humanity, he should try to elevate people from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. As far as the deer was concerned, Bharata Maharaj became very sympathetic, but he forgot that it was impossible for him to elevate a deer to spiritual consciousness. So this is very interesting. So he was spending all his time with the deer, but he could only help the deer on a material platform. He couldn't help the deer on a spiritual platform because the deer doesn't have that kind of consciousness. As far as the deer was concerned, Bharata Maharaj became very sympathetic. Right. So, because after all, a deer is but an animal. It was very dangerous for Bharata Maharaj to sacrifice all his regulatory principles simply to take care of an animal. The principles enunciated in Bhagavad-Gita should be followed. Yamhina yathiyanti ete purusham purushava. As far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone. However, by the grace of Krishna, we may raise a person to spiritual consciousness if we ourselves follow the rules and regulations. So we have to have the potency if we are going to help others. If we don't have it ourselves, how can we give it to anybody else? If we give up our own spiritual activities and simply become concerned with the bodily comfort of others, we will fall into a dangerous position. Even though one is in the renounced order, one who is advanced certainly feels compassion for suffering living entities. One should certainly neglect his own interests, although they may be very important to protect one who has surrendered. So Maya is very strong. In the name of philanthropy, altruism, and communism, people are feeling compassion for suffering humanity throughout the world. Philanthropists altruists do not realize that it is impossible to improve people's material conditions. Material conditions are already established by the superior administration according to one's karma. So this is the thing, that if somebody in a suffering condition, is because of his past or even recent karma. But having said that, we do help people. We want to ease their pain, but not to the extent that we suffer ourselves in a spiritual activity. They cannot be changed. The only benefit we can render to suffering beings is to raise them to spiritual consciousness. Material comforts cannot be increased or decreased. It is therefore said in Srimad Bhagavatam, "Tad labhyate dukhyavad anyatha sukham." As far as material happiness is concerned, that comes without effort, just as tribulations come without effort. Material happiness and pain can be attained without endeavor. One should not bother for material activities. If one is at all sympathetic or able to do good for others, he should endeavor to raise people to Krishna consciousness. In this way, everyone advances spiritually by the grace of the Lord. For our instruction, Bharata Maharaj acted in such a way. We should be very careful not to be misled by so-called welfare activities conducted in bodily terms. One should not give up his interest in attaining the favor of Lord Vishnu at any cost. Generally, people do not know this or they forget it. Consequently, they sacrifice their own regional interest, the attainment of Vishnu's favor, and engage in philanthropic activities for bodily comfort. So there is a balance, of course. We need to help people. This is why they have food for life. But priority should be given to raising people's consciousness. Due to attachment for the deer, Maharaj Bharat lay down with it, walked about with it, bathed with it, and even ate with it. Thus his heart became bound to the deer in affection. Now, if his family could see him now, thinking that he has left his wives, children, his kingdom, and he's giving all his attention to a deer. When he left, they must console themselves, thinking that he's gone for a higher purpose. That's fine, that's what you need to do. But if they find that he's actually playing with the deer, I think that they would be quite upsetting for them to see that he has left everything. He has left us for a deer. So this is amazing. When Maharaj Bharat wanted to enter the forest to collect kusha grass, flowers, wood, leaves, fruits, roots, and water, he would fear that dogs, jackals, tigers, and other ferocious animals might kill the deer. So he's basically become obsessed now. He would therefore always take the deer with him when entering the forest. How Maharaj Bharat increased his affection for deer is described herein. Even such an exalted personality as Bharat Maharaj, who had attained loving affection for the Supreme Personality Godhead, he was like that close, fell down from his position due to his affection for some animal. Consequently, as will be seen, he had to accept the body of a deer in his next life. Since this was the case with Bharat Maharaj, what can we say of those who are not advanced in spiritual life, but who become attached to cats and dogs? I could see where Srila Prabhupada was going with this. Due to their affection for the cats and dogs, they have to take the same bodily forms in the next life, unless they clearly increase their affection and love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada is saying that if you are attached to your animals, any animal, could be cat, dog, whatever, if you are attached to them, then it's likely that next life you will become them. Unless we increase our faith in the Supreme Lord, we shall be attracted to many other things. That is the cause of our material bondage. When entering the forest, the animal would appear very attractive to Maharaj Bharat due to its childish behavior. Maharaj Bharat would even take the deer on his shoulders, oh dear, and carry it due to affection. His heart was so filled with great love for the deer that he would sometimes keep it on his lap or, when sleeping, on his chest. In this way, he felt great pleasure in fondling the animal. Maharaj Bharat left his home, wife, children, kingdom, and everything else to advance his spiritual life in the forest. So this is what I'm saying. That's why he left his home. But he again fell victim to material affection due to his attachment to an insignificant pet deer. What then was the use of his renouncing his family? One who is serious in advancing a spiritual life should be very cautious not to become attached to anything but Krishna. Sometimes, in order to preach, we have to accept many material activities, but we should remember that everything is for Krishna. If we remember this, there is no chance of our being victimized by material activities. So when Bharat Maharaj was actually worshipping the Lord or was engaged in some ritualistic ceremony, all those activities were unfinished, he would still at intervals get up and see where the deer was. So all his attention was towards the deer. When he started to do some bhakti, his mind was somewhere else. In this way, he would look for it, and when he could see that the deer was comfortably situated, his mind and heart would be very satisfied. And he would bestow his blessings upon the deer, saying, "My dear calf, may you be happy in all respects." Because his attraction for the Deva was so intense, Bharata Maharaj could not concentrate upon worshipping the Lord or performing his ritualistic ceremonies. Even though he was engaged in worshipping the deity, his mind was restless due to his inordinate affection. While trying to meditate, he would simply think of the Deva, wondering where it had gone. In other words, if one's mind is distracted from worship, a mere show of worship will not be of any benefit. The fact that Bharat Maharaj had to get up at intervals to look for the deer was simply a sign that he had fallen down from the spiritual platform. If Bharat Maharaj sometimes could not see the deer, his mind would be very agitated. He would become like a miser who, having obtained some riches, had lost them and had then become very unhappy. When the day was gone, he would be filled with anxiety and would lament due to separation. Thus, he would become illusioned and speak as follows. If a poor man loses some money or gold, he at once becomes very agitated. Similarly, the mind of Maharaj Bharat would become agitated when he did not see the deer. This is an example of how attachment can be transferred. If our attachment is transferred to the Lord's service, we progress. Srila Rupa Goswami prayed to the Lord that he would be as naturally attracted to the Lord's service as young men and young women are naturally attracted to each other. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited such attachment to the Lord when he jumped into the ocean or cried at night in separation. However, if our attachment is diverted to material things instead of to the Lord, we will fall down from the spiritual platform. This is amazing, amazing, such a great lesson. And the lesson is that it doesn't have to be a deer. It could be wealth, could be wife, could be children, could be anything. Prabhupada is saying that do not be attached. Attachment is transferable. Do not be attached to material things, because then you will not be able to release yourself from material energy. You will stay in this material world. If you want something spiritual, then you have to be attached to something spiritual. That's the only way to release yourself. And so it's shown that how strong this material energy is, that it can bind anyone, even most exalted people who have given up everything, yet they can be bound as well. It's not that you made this big sacrifice and you're going to get special favors, or Maya's going to leave you alone because you did such a sacrifice. Says, look, he's done so much, I shouldn't bother him. Maya has to do his job. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you have achieved. Maya does not care. It will pull you. That's what it does. Thank you all so much for joining. Jai Prabhu, Malv Shamsundar Prabhu, Parveen Mataji, Mundikaksh Prabhu, and Sarvashri Mataji. Welcome back. Thank you all so much. Love to hear. I think this topic is very close to our heart, and we all have this. We all suffer from this, and would like to get your points of view. How can we remain strong all the time? How can we remain strong in our sadhana, not just in our attachment to Krishna? How can we remain strong that we don't fall into that trap? So thank you so much. Praveen Mataji, what do you think? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much. Yeah, very nice lesson from this pastime, Prabhuji. Maharaj Bharat, he left his family to perform bhakti, but he got attached to the deer. So I think there's a big lesson for the grihasthas that we don't have to leave our home to do bhakti. We can do it at home, because even leaving, because like you said, your senses and mind still go with you. So there's no need to leave our homes. We should remain attached to Krishna while staying at home. And always we have to remember our higher purpose in life. And I think association of devotees is very important, because if you drift a little bit and then when you're in association, it does bring you back. So that's a good check. And so we don't have to be too sympathetic to other living beings. But I struggle with that point, because I feel like when you love God, you love His creation, and then you want to. So I think there is a fine line. And I realized that myself, because like I love to go to feed birds and ducks and swans, but then it was a regular thing. And if because of weather or other commitments, I couldn't go, I used to feel bad. But then had to tell myself, no, Krishna is looking after everybody. So I don't have to worry. So I try to break that as well. And then at one point I was thinking, like Bharat Maharaj, I don't want to become a crow. Then I'll be thinking, oh, I haven't fed my crows yet. I haven't fed my crows, if I'm on my deathbed. So yeah, we have to remind these things, that the attachment should only be to Krishna. We should be sympathetic to others, because then there's no point chanting. And if you see somebody else is suffering, and if you're able to help, we should help. But thinking that, seeing Krishna in him, Paramatma, residing in their soul as well. So yeah, so the main purpose is we have to remember Krishna all the time, and not to get attached to anything material. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, main thing is to have Krishna in the center in what we do. So, we are helping the birds and the swans, and yeah, we helping them because, like you just said yourself, that because they're all, they are all Krishna's creation. So we help him in that way. Problem with Bharata Maharaj was that he thought that it was all up to him, and he became over attached emotionally. We don't get emotionally attached to to entities. That's the thing. Even with our families, we should not be overly emotional attached. That affects our bhakti. We show love and compassion to everyone as being part of Krishna. Not that, oh, it's so, it's with, oh, they're mine. It's not like that. They belong to me. Not like that. They all belong to Krishna, and we love them for that reason. We still go through the same activities, but with a different purpose, with a different reason. That's different mindset, different consciousness. That's what we're looking to do. Just change our consciousness, still do the same activities. So we keep our consciousness elevated. That's the main thing. But Maharaj had lowered his consciousness. He couldn't concentrate on his bhakti because the day became more important. So, if you are giving priority to other things, then the bhakti, then your consciousness has lowered. That's the thing. So, priority is there, always bhakti. You help everyone, show compassion. If you can raise the consciousness, it's all good. I mean, if you're going, say you're going to the park to feed the birds and the swans, I mean, we do that. We take our japmalas with us. We have a walk. We do a chanting, and in the process, we can feed something to the swans. It's fine. But we're not attached to them, or we don't have to go. We can't make it. We can't make it. Priority is given to our bhakti. We are there. There's no harm.
Yeah, I think it comes with time, because that's what I realized. So if I can't go, I can't go, because Krishna, he's taking care of everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And with Bharat Maharaj, Prabhuji, do you think it is karma? Because his previous karma, maybe it was meant to happen that way. So, because the karma, they are very strong. So we can't, even if we desire something, bhakti, then something comes up. So maybe it was his karma as well, that he had to go into that.
Now, thing is, one thing we can change, we can change our karma. And one thing we have is free will, right? So, even if he had like bad karma, say, suppose he did, he still had a choice. It's not that he didn't have a choice. He had a choice, and he chose to leave home, and he chose to become attached to the deer. That's his choice. We choose to become attached to wealth, money or family. That's our choice. It's not because our karma has made us that way. It's natural to become like that, but we have to raise our intelligence, we have to raise our consciousness.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. I would just like to add that, when we are helping anybody, whether it's animals or humans or anybody, we shouldn't think that we are the doers. Actually, Krishna is helping. We are just the means. I think problem comes to us regarding the attachment and like the problems Bharata Maharaj had. When you start thinking that you are the one who is doing everything, you are the resource, you are everything. Resource is coming from the source. We should remember that. If we remember that, I think that will be very good. But this has to be remembered all the time. It's not that we remember once a month and rest of the month we're just doing, thinking that I am doing. We are. Everything is coming to us from Krishna. Our the Atmas, until the Shakti is there for us to do something in this life, we are alive. But when that Shakti, when the Atma goes back to where it belongs, to the source, then we are just nothing, isn't it? So we have to remember that we are not the doer, we are not the controller, and when we are getting some money because we have worked for something, we start thinking that, oh, I'm the owner of this, so I'm helping this, I'm doing this. No, we got to remember the basics, what Prabhupada has reminded us over and over again. It's a very simple thing, like those who you missed the Bhut Bhavanas Prabhu's class last time. He was saying that we have to rejoin the Krishna consciousness from time to time. Because once we join, we think that, okay, we have become the permanent members, and we start thinking ourselves higher than, the rest of the society. We think that we know our situation. We are Atma. God is the Supreme Personality. But, the intentions for which we joined this Krishna consciousness in the first place, we forget that. And that was a very subtle point which Prabhu made in the class, but I think we all should rejoin the Krishna consciousness again and again with the same purpose, because either we were troubled materially, emotionally by the society, by the body, or we were in need of some money. Like Krishna says that 4 types of people come to me. So we must be in one of those 4 categories. So remind yourselves. I thought that was brilliant. First, Swayam Bhagwan Prabhu's class in Kartik, then Swamiji's class. Keep forgetting he's Maharaj now. Swayam Bhagwan Maharaj's class, then now Bhut Bhavan Prabhu's class. So it was like a seminar to me, So the classes are there. So rehear them and rejoin the Krishna consciousness. And this is what these pastimes are reminding us, that just because Krishna has given us something because of our karma, because of our sukriti, or whatever, and we just misuse our free will. Free will is always there with us. We can negate our karma. Like Krishna says, surrender to me, I will forgive all your sins. And we think, okay, everything is forgotten, but the basics we tend to override all the time. That's the main problem. So yes, I would suggest everyone to think about these points which were raised by these 2 exalted devotees who visited us in Kartik. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So Jai Prabhu has mentioned that Bharata Maharaj gave up his kingdom, home, and family life to engage in spiritual activities. However, ironically, he falls down in spiritual life after becoming too attached to the caring of an orphan deer that he decided to adopt. At that time of his death, his mind was fully absorbed in thinking of the deer. So probably you have gone a bit ahead of the class. Consequently, acquired the body of a deer in his next life. Yeah, that was mentioned. You're right. Whatever state of being one remembers one, which is body, that state he will attain without fail. Very good. Yeah. While having compassion for all living entities is a divine quality, one should not become overly attached, and it should not be at the expense of devotion service. Very good. Absolutely. Well said. Krishna is the supreme controller and proprietor. Mataji says, that's it. This is what we're saying, because I think Bharata Maharaj, even though so exalted, so renounced and so close to achieving perfection. He forgot that, he thought it's all up to him. So this is what Radharani was saying as well, that we sometimes forget that it's like our children, right? Our children go out somewhere, or they go to school, or they go maybe to another city or something, and we worry for them. We are worried for their safety, for their health, everything. But then when you think about it, that just like our parents were worrying for us, but we know there's a supreme power with us, looking after us, and what will happen anyway. But there's a power looking after each and all of us. So if our children are somewhere, we cannot be with them all the time. Only Krishna is with us all the time. So we see that with our children as well. That we're not with them. Krishna is with them, just like he's with us. He's protecting us. And if a problem is going to come, it's going to come, and that's we have to deal with it. Now with Bharata Maharaj, he keeps watching over the deer, thinking that only he can protect him. He forgot. He took Krishna out of the equation, thinking it's all up to him to save this deer, to help this deer if he's in danger or he needs something. This is a problem that he thought he was controlling everything. And thank you for mentioning, Mataji, that controller and proprietor is Krishna himself.
Yeah, last point, Prabhuji, sorry. Yeah, I've changed my mindset as well. Like I used to worry about my children, but now I always say, no, they're Krishna's children. Why am I worrying?
That's
So
right.
it frees you so much, and it just lifts all the burden from your shoulders. And not that I'm not taking responsibility, but it's the mindset.
Yeah, not the worry. Just take away the
Yeah, yeah.
but the worry.
Mm, thank you.
And another thing is that, problems or happiness, trials or success, everything is going to come our way. We have to take it as the mercy of Krishna. That Krishna wants us to face this thing at this very moment. Now we have to use our free will and whatever we have learned from Shastras, from Srila Prabhupada's books, and just pray to Krishna that, like Prabhupada says, please don't let me fall down. Don't let me fall down. We understood very clearly in these classes is fall down from the spiritual platform. So we are not doing anything. All the strings are like the famous painting in Bhagavad-Gita. You all have must seen that the three gunas are controlling. The three gunas are doing all the magic in the Maya, and we think that we have become suddenly, isn't it? That we have become the be all and end all of everything in our life and in everybody else's life who are dependent on us. Nobody is dependent on anything. It's like an illusion. The family's illusion, the society's illusion, but these very key points, they look very minor. What we have all have heard in the class, we got to make a note of them and just remember them over and over. This is what my takeaway from today's class is.
Hare Krishna. Puddikaks Prabhu, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Such a nice pastime. So many points already been covered. I picked up a couple of points. In the very fourth sloka, Prabhupada. Actually, this story is like a nice story where we can get realizations. But again, with the Prabhupada commentary, we can get more realizations, I felt. So in one of the texts, Prabhupada mentioned that the doe was actually, by its nature, it is fearful and suspicious. So I felt like I have seen so many people who are actually fearful and suspicious, and because of that, they get agitated, end up doing offense towards other people. And even in this deer case, it was so happily living, but as soon as it heard the sound, it left even drinking the water, ran away from there, and lost its life ultimately. So being suspicious and fearful are the two reasons which are very dangerous for our mind. And there is no point where we can say that, okay, now I have done all, I'm done, whatever is done is enough now. There is no point. Even Bharata Maharaj case, we can see he was the edge of going back home, back to Godhead. But at that point, he got attached to this deer and fall down. So I was thinking, same Prabhuji, like some days now I get a chance to finish my rounds, very early in the morning, do reading and listen to a class. And I come to know that okay, our systems are not working today, so there is no work today. So from that time till evening now, I have left with so much of time. So this time I can utilize in reading, listening again, or I can say that okay, anything I have done already, whatever I need to do, reading done, listening done, chanting done, so I can watch TV now. So that moment is enough for me to take me back into that sense gratification again, because I like to watch cricket so much. So if I put cricket on TV in YouTube for 15 minutes, I will end up watching cricket whole day. So
Yeah.
that moment is enough for me actually. That's what we are seeing in Bharat Maharaj case as well. That there is no point we can say that okay, we have reached the ultimate destination now. At any point you can fall down, and that is one thing. And if you are not doing your own sadhana, then how can you help other people? That's what Prabhupada mentioned, that like wake up, do Mangala Arati, do your 16 rounds, follow your regulative principles. Otherwise, how can you help other people? And there is one more point, which is like uh, I mean, he cannot elevate the deer to spiritual platform. Of course, it is an animal. So in this case, I was thinking like I keep discussing to so many people whenever I come across some people, and we end up discussing on so many things, and ultimately he will say that there is no God. So it is no point in trying to convince them. Better to leave them there, and you focus on your own. I mean, I focus on my own sadhana. So that's what I felt. And material conditions are already established according to the one's own karma. So you cannot change the karma. We cannot change the karma. Demigods can't do it. Only Krishna. So we can only do is bring them from material to spiritual platform as much as possible. That's the only thing. I think that's where when Arohit Prabhu mentioned put tilak on your body so that it can make other people to realize yes, there is God. So those things at least do that and make them realize that there is God. And my brother is closely associated with one of the charity organization there, and they help so many kids like who are heart patients or cancer patients. And I have seen that, I mean, they help them very nicely, and they make sure that they can go back to their family and live happy life. But at the end, what is happening? They're just sending back to their family. That's it, done. After that, there is no connection with them. So I discussed with them that why can't you introduce some like ISKCON devotees here and tell the pastime to the kids so that once they go back, they can at least remember those pastimes. Um, that's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, very, very good points, Prabhu. Absolutely right. Absolutely. So, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, everybody. Good points. Everybody mostly covered everything.
You must have something for us.
I would say story of Maharaj Bharat. I mean, it's related to our life. Like when we try to do devotional service, we get distracted. That's why it's very important to think of Krishna 24 hours, and so we don't forget. And King Bharat, he sacrificed everything: his home, his family, wealth, to do the devotional service, because he's done sacrifice. The sacrifices that say to purify yourself, but then he wanted to get detached from family life and go to the forest. And attachment is so powerful. When one gets attached to material activities, it is very difficult to concentrate your mind in devotional service, because sometimes you think you have to do something, and then you would just keep on thinking, or tomorrow I have to do things. So this is how we've got the grahast life, and it's very hard. And Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that senses are so strong and impetuous, Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So while thinking the object of the senses, a person develops attachment. So Maharaj Bharati was thinking of Dia all the time. That's his object of senses, thinking, and then he got attached. One has to be very careful in doing spiritual activities. If neglected, one falls down from the spiritual platform. So that's why we do it out in Hare Krishna. We do it every day. We do Aarti, we do devotional service, we read Bhagavatam. So we mind our mind is steady. Maharaj Bharat was very exalted, compassionate to other living entities. That's why he felt compassionate to Dia. And it says in Bhagavatam that he was exalted devotee, but he felt sorry for the body of the deer. He didn't see the soul. He was thinking of the body of the deer. That's why he was so compassionate. And he started neglecting his devotional service. Same like in Mahabharata, Arjuna, when he went to the battlefield, when he seen the armies, all the armies, he felt compassionate. And then he said he's not going to fight. And then Krishna said, you are seeing the body. But then he started talking about the soul. The soul is eternal, they'll get new body. But we think it's always natural to think about body. Somebody's sick, we just think about the body. We don't never think about the soul. So the soul is very, very important. And so we have to be very careful in our life. Very easily we get attached. We already attached. We are attached, but we have try to detach ourselves. And the only way to do is to get attached to Krishna, to detach from the material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. It's 10 to 9 now. I have to go by 9 o'clock, so we'll do just one round. Thank you so much. Sureshi Mataji, if you could do that round, please, and then we'll end there. Thank you, Mataji.
Namah Vishnupadaya Krishnapataya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Picharine Nidhi Sakunya Vadi Pashtuta Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,